What is your real-life love story? My lover of 9 years just left me. I need some good love stories. Story 1. Oh, I got a nice one for this. Or a sad one. I'm from Germany, and in summer 2013, I was in England for 2 weeks. It was kind of a language course, and there were about 60 other students in my age. 2 weeks passed, and I had a lot of fun meeting people, living at a host family, and doing stuff with my friend who had come with me. On our last evening, when there was almost no time to meet the others, because early in the morning we had to return, the whole group ate a pizza at a restaurant. I sat there with my friend, and all of a sudden, a girl I haven't seen before sat down on the other side of the table. We had one of the most magical and enthusiastic conversations ever. It was amazing. I've never before felt such a deep and strong connection to anyone. We were definitely made for each other. Unfortunately, we were separated because when we had to go back to Germany, I got to know she lives in the south and I live in the north. I'm so glad I asked her for her number. Usually, I'm not the guy to make such an optimistic move when getting to know someone new. We chatted since then every day on WhatsApp, and it is still amazing because she felt the same way I did in that restaurant. Our conversation was absolutely fantastic, and we soon fell in love with each other. There was like 500 kilometers between us, and we didn't have the chance to meet each other yet, but we will. And as soon as I can finally hug and feel her, this story will be complete. Story 2. I went to a Six Flags with a friend as a date kind of thing. We pull up the same time as these dudes driving the yellow version of my car showed up. I laughed because it's a total chick car. We park and the driver gets out. This big, burly, bearded, manly man steps out and I am blown away. I keep walking with my friend and I saw and ran into this manly man about 6 times during the time we were at the park. As it happens, I start to get tired and bored with the park. So as we're leaving, I grab a napkin and leave a note on their car. It said, "You in the band T, you're cute as fuck," with my number attached. At 3 a.m., I get a text saying all of us were wearing band Ts. "Oh, you had a Captain America tattoo on your leg?" "Oh, hey, yeah, that's me." Smiley face. "Hi." 2.5 years later, I'm sitting here at our house with our 1-month-old son as he's at the brewery up the street with his buddies. Story 3. I was just getting over someone that I was pretty heartbroken over. I went to a music festival with my cousin to just really let go, do something for myself, be free type of thing. This really attractive guy walks past me with his shirt off, muscles, etc. I complimented him and just told him he was really beautiful or something. He stops to have a chat with me, making conversation out of a quick compliment. He asks if I want to ride the Ferris wheel. He joined our group and we hung out together the whole night. He got my number and we texted. Never thought it would go anywhere. We ended up talking on the phone and making plans to see each other. He was living in SoCal and I was living in Vegas. We visited each other every 2 weeks. This past June, he asked if I wanted to try it out in California with him and I said sure. Now him and I are full-time revers living in Cali, working jobs and living together. Been on Reddit for a while, but first time commenting posting, usually just upvote, but wanted to leave this story here. 4. You want a love story? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, here we go. Met my husband back in high school. We were friends. He married one of my best friends. We had a series of party houses with semi-regular roommates. Basically lived together, including his wife, and basically my BFF and others too. Off and on for years. She cheats. They have a crappy divorce, and I was right there for him. I am still best friends with him at the end of it. We continue living together with friends for a couple of years. One day, I'm just sitting around, looking at him, and I realize I have a huge crush on him, and I'm talking about one of those scramble to the journal and freak out moments. Since we were best friends, I decided that going for it was a terrible idea that would end our friendship and destroy the house dynamics. My world was crumbling, so I set him up with a girl I knew. Logical solution? Obviously, that doesn't work out. Then the worst luck ever has to strike. He and I wind up going after the same girl. Crazy confusing, I know. That doesn't work out for either one of us, so I start dating a guy and we hit it off. Future hubby finds out and his world comes crashing down now too. He starts going after me hard. I soon find myself in a bad breakup. Presto. Future hubby and I started talking about our feelings. I was very resistant to the idea to the extent that we sat down and had several very long talks about it. I never saw myself with someone like him. I didn't think he could handle the kind of relationship I needed, and I couldn't see our relationship change going well. Basically, my answer was a cautiously stern no. Little did I know that he was a man who had finally crafted the wear them down approach to love and war. Through a series wide of romantic gestures like ninja kisses, he slowly won me over. It was a week or two before I realized we had already transitioned from being best friends to boyfriend and girlfriend. Surprisingly, it worked very well. I have never been good with relationships, honestly. The fact that we were friends for a decade before anything happened was probably the only reason we lasted the first year. We dated for a year were engaged for another year and have been married for 4 years now. We were inseparable as friends. I can't imagine my life without him. I always had a rule that I would never date my best friends. Friendship is important, and lasting friendships are more precious than you realize when you're younger. If it weren't for the series of insane events that brought us closer and closer together, we never would have gotten married. Today, I would highly advise anyone considering letting a possible happy relationship pass them by due to friendship alone to actually feel it out and give it a try. It's not a normal love story, I suppose. It was chaos from the start. It was exactly what we needed. Finally saying yes to him was by far the best decision I have ever made. I am happy and we have an amazing child together. This really could not have turned out any better for us. Story 5. I'm sorry for your loss. My lover and I have been together for nearly 7 years. We met in high school. It wasn't until after he graduated, because he's a year older, that I put it together that he was interested in me. In class, he would draw me silly cartoons of pirates, make me gifts, and we would share cosmic brownies. He ate the icing while I ate the brownie and the little sprinkles on top. We hung out outside of school a few times with friends, where he showed me that he learned how to play my favorite Christmas song on the guitar, and he borrowed a friend's Nintendo Wii because he knew I wanted to play it when it first came out. What did I do? I tried to find him a date for prom, talked him into going with this crazy exchange student, and I was completely ignorant of his feelings for me while I was dating a guy that was manipulative, mean, and controlling. After about a year of him trying to show me that he had feelings for me, it finally hit me. It gave me the strength to break up with my mean boyfriend, and I showed up at my current lover's house on Valentine's Day with an origami rose. Story 6. My lover and currently now my wife messaged me on MySpace back in 2006 on December 2nd. On December 6th, we went on our very first date. I'm super shy and the only words I said to her back then was hello when she got in my car. We went to see Deja Vu. The whole movie I was trembling like a schoolgirl to hold her hand or put my arm around her. As soon as the fucking credits rolled in, I went for the arm around the shoulder. Yeah, I nailed it. After the credits, we got in the car and I dropped her off. The next day at work, she told all her friends how shy and awkward it was and she didn't want a second date. Her friends said to give me one more shot. Date number 2 was a week later and I brought her over to my house. We watched Harry Potter and actually talked. 4 years later, we are engaged. 1 year later, we were married and we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary last October. Not much of a love story, but a MySpace love story that actually didn't go wrong. Story 7. Last year, I felt so unlucky in love. I'm a college student and I was desperately hoping to meet some new people. This new girl in one of my classes, who is now one of my best friends, took me out to a frat party on campus and introduced me to this guy. I can't explain that moment other than to say sparks flew. There was literally magic between us. I was so caught up in the moment that it wasn't until after I went home that night that I realized I forgot to get his number. Luckily, my friend saw how into this guy I was and was able to contact him again. It took a while for me to get up the guts to go on a date with him. For some reason, I was scared that those sparks wouldn't be there anymore and I would be devastated. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta get up and do it. And I did. That was about a year ago and we're still joined at the hip. I can't believe how lucky I got. Moral of the story? Don't listen to anyone who says you can't find true love at a frat party. Story 8. I met her at musical theater. I was a humble ensemble boy and she was a star. We befriended each other and for over a year I slowly pursued her, but I was just a tad too nervous to ask. Not to mention my asshole friend tried stealing her phone for a joke when she was going to give me her number as a friend, and after the fact, apparently everyone said behind our backs that we were supposed to be together. Then I got drunk and finally texted her. She returned the feelings. At a costume party, she dressed up as Ginger from The Brave and I dressed up as Ash Ketchum. We kissed and became a couple, and it was my asshole friend's party, so it all works out. Story 9. 2 years ago, my brothers talked me into going to NYC when Occupy Wall Street had just started. While we were there, we met a guy from a few states away. He and I really hit it off. He was cute, we had a ton in common, and he had a sweet beard. Then a giant march happened and the new guy marched with us. We ended up getting arrested with over 800 other people on the Brooklyn Bridge, so we all ended up getting separated, and he and I hadn't exchanged anything more than names and cities we lived in. I was sitting in handcuffs when the police let him pass me. I yelled, "It was nice meeting you. Maybe we'll see each other again sometime." After a night in jail, I found my brothers and went home. I tried to find the guy on Facebook, but he had a really common name, and there were thousands of people with the same same name. A day later, I got a message from him on Facebook. He couldn't remember my weird last name, so he watched hours of YouTube videos of people yelling their names to the National Lawyers Guild as they were led away by the police. He eventually found me hollering my name. He came to my city to visit, took a job there, and we moved in together. We're getting married next summer. I never believed in anything like fate or soulmates, but in a crowd of thousands, in a city where neither of us lived, I found the person who has made me happier than I ever thought I could be. Story 10. I'll try to keep it short. I met her on a game through a friend. I fell in love with her personality and we dated online since she lived almost across the entire country from me. She's very shy, so we've only just seen what each other look like recently. Today actually, she's beautiful. I can't believe she ever thought I would have an issue with her appearance. We talk literally whenever we can. It's been like heaven. Not being able to hold her in my arms is painful, but the way she makes me feel is well worth that sacrifice. I can't imagine my life without her, and when I think about how unlikely it is that we met, I can't help but feel that we are the luckiest people on earth. Congratulations, you managed to reach the end of the video, and as your reward, you get to subscribe to me so you can watch more videos like this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!